But let's get it, and you guys know the vibes, and this will be the final part of the video. So, as you guys should already know, it's Naruto vs. Sasuke at every point in the series. It's Swagkage and 6 doing the video. Jay's reacting to their video. I'm reacting to it as a whole. Let's get it.
Adapting to that power whenever his Susanoo eventually gets his little arrow. And then it evolves for the final time against Kakashi whenever he's talking about how he doesn't like the Leaf Village or whatever. So Sasuke is descending further and further into madness, and that whole time he's descending in mental stability. He's just going up and up and up and up and up in power. So the Zetsu statement from before about Sasuke being weaker than Naruto is completely invalid at this point. Sasuke's completely eclipsed that older version of himself. Now, I think a very interesting comparison is whenever Sasuke talks about how his Susanoo is a more absolute defense than Gaara's. Because earlier, Gaara was just easily deflecting Sasuke's attacks, and his sand came in between Sasuke and the Raikage, and it stopped Amaterasu and the guillotine drop. So for Sasuke's Susanoo to evolve to basically be able to tank the guillotine drop now is a pretty massive boost. And Sasuke, after this, he goes into the the Kage Summit room. He stands on the roof. Cool as fuck, by the way, standing on the roof.
Oh yeah, that shit was cold.
Fire,
Yeah.
Oh
and
yeah.
Then
All-time great.
Mifune comes up, slashes at him. Now, I don't know how much everyone knows about Mifune, but Mifune is pretty cracked. He's pretty strong. At the maximum, you can maybe say Mifune is faster than Prime Hanzo, who may be around Pain's level, but I don't want to take it that far. I'm just saying Sasuke is reacting to Mifune and
Casually, by the
slashes.
way.
Yes, casually. No Mangekyo, just put his sword out and blocked Mifune.
That man,
Yeah, he looks more annoyed.
that man, like immediately blocked that shit. He's like, "Get that fucking shit out of here! Who the fuck you think you are, samurai?" You know what I mean?
than anything.
Yeah, Mifune compliments him on it. Now, a lot of people try to downplay Sasuke within this room because he's like low on chakra at this point, but Inoki putting Sasuke in the Jintan Cube is nothing impressive. Sasuke's barely able to walk. He's like limping out of the room.
Now, one thing I will say, 6 is incorrect about one thing. Definitely doesn't scale to Prime Hanzo. Prime Hanzo no diff the samurai dude, like literally no diff his bitch ass. And then they fought again, and then Hanzo, he was like mentally nerfed to where like his power wasn't the same as it was before, and then he was able to beat that Hanzo. He even speed blitzed him to the point where he couldn't even use jutsus and shit. You know what I mean? So when it comes to all that, that's kind of what you're working with. And the same Hanzo we see is the one that got bitched by Pain as well. You know what I mean? And then we know Pain is blatantly over the sonning and all that, you name it, etc. So basically, in a nutshell, so in a nutshell, what we have working with in a general consensus is Prime Hanzo's over the 3 sonning. Pain is over the 3 sonning as well, and would still be over Hanzo as well. You know what I mean? Prime Hanzo would have probably done a little bit better against Pain, but he still would have lost. You know what I mean? Pain, Itachi, Minato, Obito, they're all just at a certain level of scaling that, the sonning just can't fuck with. Even people like Hanzo and the Samurai. When it comes to Sasuke versus Pain, there can maybe like an arbitrary level of relativity, potentially, but full power Pain will more than likely slam Sasuke to oblivion. Susanoo Sasuke. You know what I mean? Like, I'm be honest, I don't see in any way, shape, or form of Sasuke doing the goddamn thing to Pain. You know what I mean? If you want to be generous, maybe he could somehow take out a one path or two, but I highly doubt that. Highly doubt that.
Happens. Obviously, nothing's happened to Inoki, so he's at full power. Inoki mentions like, "Oh, I can't believe Deidara lost to a brat like you," or something like that. That's obviously not meant to be like a literal statement because Sasuke was already clearly superior to Deidara back when he was in Hebi. And he's much stronger at this point. And like I said, he's fatigued when he enters this room. So then you got Sasuke getting saved by Obito, and then finally when he comes into contact.
Yeah, a full power Sasuke would dog wash Inoki, absolutely slam his bitch ass. Inoki literally scales to Deidara. Like when Deidara was in Edo, that motherfucker literally, they were like equal with each other basically. You know what I mean? And fighting each other, whatever. And he couldn't even like like Inoki probably would win that fight in the end, but they were equal for the most part. You know what I mean? And mind you, that's not like Alive Datara, that's Edo Datara. You know what I mean? And Heavy Sasuke, much weaker than 5 Kage Summit Sasuke, was over here like bullying that Datara. You know, with prep time and the assistance of Obito as well. You know, so
absolute maximum. It's even stated in the data book like his anger is at the boiling point here. So it's like Sasuke is at his absolute strongest whenever he encounters Danzo. And then he gets weaker. He loses his Sharingan, he loses Susanoo and whatnot. Him and Naruto clash, you know, Chidori to Rasengan. It's base Naruto, by the way. And then there's this statement, oh my god, where Naruto says that he needs the Nine Tails chakra in order to fight Sasuke. This statement has been taken out of context a lot. I think the context surrounding this statement more so implies that Naruto is talking about he needs to conquer hatred in order to fight Sasuke, especially due to his conversation with Team 7 and Hagoromo later on in the war arc, where he's essentially saying that he can't just beat Sasuke by being strong. He needs to overcome this hatred hurdle so he can end the cycle of hatred, because Naruto has 2 goals. He wants to save Sasuke and he wants to end the cycle of hatred. One has to come before the other, right? And that's saving Sasuke. So if he can conquer the Nine Tails, whose chakra and will is just a lump of hatred, then he can do that. Also, if you take this statement in its literal...
I'll say this. I'll play devil's advocate here. So there are fair arguments to what Six is doing. He's kind of like doing a connecting the dots type arguments throughout the narrative to basically substantiate one simple notion. You know what I mean? It's several things all together, but it mainly boils down and correlates to one main point, if that makes sense. So, like, in that direction, I could understand and see what Six is saying and what he means and how it could work in a sense, yada, yada. And that's fine, that's fair. But the problem is, what we know definitively is Naruto literally says that he needs to power the Nine Tails. And literally the entire aspect of that entire chapter, all the context, etc., you name it, is literally about Naruto mastering the power, which would basically eventually let him obtain KCM1. You know what I mean? So, meaning if you connect those dots... Basically, it's the simple fact that Naruto needs KCM1 in order to beat Sasuke, which makes sense because if we analyze Naruto as a whole with like Sagemon and everything, you name it, sure, he could probably be able to combat against Sasuke with his Susanoo and everything, but he wouldn't win in the long outcome. You know what I mean? Like, he just wouldn't. And better yet, like, there's actually, like, the anime actually shows MS Sasuke fighting against Sagemon Naruto, by the way, just a quick heads up. It's literally MS Sasuke fighting Sagemon Naruto. It's a filler arc, basically. It's of like Tsunade's like infinite Tsukiyomi dream and everything. So this is kind of like the closest we would ever get in a way to seeing maybe, you know, MS Sasuke versus Naruto. Now, sure, you could always argue the canonicity of everything and be like, oh, that's not, you know, blah, blah. But at the end of the day, that's really not going to get you anywhere because no matter what, it's still Naruto. It's still the anime. Kishimoto is still the one that, you know, created Naruto to begin with. Still has correlations to each other of him doing a manga adaptation, etc., etc. Like, the list goes on and on. You can argue either way for whether a filler can even be considered canon or not, or the anime being canon, but there's, I'm just blatantly blunt with you guys, there is an abundance amount of evidence, at least more stronger, substantiating the notion that it is all canon and there's nothing wrong with using it as a form of evidence for scaling. It doesn't just have to be manga. Unless it's a blatant contradiction, then you don't have to utilize manga only. Like, that's just how it goes with any fucking anime for the most part. But anyways, so overall, like, when it comes down to it, we actually see them fight. Naruto goes Sagemon. He's doing a decent job, but it's just not enough. And he literally would have lost the fight if he didn't have Kurama. And he goes into his KCM form, and now it's fair game. You know what I mean? Like, so basically, Naruto fights against Sasuke, goes Sage Mode, beating his ass. Sasuke does Susanoo. Naruto is barely hanging on. He goes Nine Tails power, and now it's fair game. You know what I mean? So no matter what, technically, if you analyze the narrative overall and you kind of just see the power cliffs at certain points or the comparison in power between the two, it's kind of technically always shown and hinted that Naruto always needed the Nine Tails power even to fuck with Susanoo and Sasuke. You know what I mean? That's just kind of what's always been the implications there, you know? So to say that it's not having to do with the Nine Tails power and to say that it's all about like Naruto wanting to conquer hatred in order to just save Sasuke because Sasuke's in, you know, fully like encased with hatred and whatnot, you name it. I don't know about all that one. It's like, once again, it's fair arguments, it's understandable, etc. But when it comes to the possibility of it, I would say it's stronger when it comes to a term of power that Naruto needs that in order to even be able to defeat him to begin with. Because at the end of the day, hatred doesn't matter. You know what I mean? Like, don't get me wrong, it matters. Like, Naruto obviously does care what you name it. But even when Naruto has 6 pass power and fucking KCM2, all this shit, whatever you name it, you know what I mean? He's been fucking conquered hatred, yada, yada, whatever. The man was only able to literally have a chance against Sasuke because he had the Nine Tails power to begin with. You know? So, like, it's always the same direction, period. So, once again, if you analyze it overall as a whole, I would say it's definitely still correlating to power and to Naruto needing KCM to begin with to beat him. That's just me personally. I feel like that just makes the most sense, logically speaking, you name it, and even higher possibility-wise. And then not only that, it's just, technically, it's definitively stated. He says, I need the power of the Nine Tails to beat Sasuke. You know what I mean? So, like, if you're going to over here try to have an interpretation of what that means to you, even though it's blatantly saying he just needs the power of the Nine Tails to beat him, that's a definitive statement, okay? Sure, you can go into interpretation territory or whatever and try to be like what you think that means to you, but at the end of the day, what we know bare minimum definitively is that flat out he just needs it to fight and beat Sasuke. You know what I mean? Regardless of what you think is the reasoning for why he believes that, and you think like there's just more to it, and that's not the case, like cool, that's fine and all. But once again, I already explained and kind of played devil's advocate, you know. So it is what it is. You know what I mean? It's an interesting thing, but no matter what, I think personally Naruto would need the Nine Tails in order to beat him. If it's just Sage Mode, I don't think Naruto could do it. I really don't. So I disagree.
Which just isn't true. It's Naruto says he needs the Nine Tails chakra in order to fight Sasuke. Sasuke is not as strong as the entire Nine Tails at this point. We see that later on in the war whenever KCM2 happens. He's not even as strong as that, right? So blind Sasuke is not as strong as KCM2 Naruto or anything like that.
Of course not.
And then keep in mind when Naruto, what he's thinking of when he's saying this is blind Sasuke. So he just tied with blind Sasuke Rasengan to Chidori. So he's already as strong as blind Sasuke. So it's clearly not meant to be interpreted as he needs KCM or anything like that. Especially considering, on top of that, KCM 1 and 2 aren't really things. We call those forms that so that we know what each other is talking about whenever we, mention the battle. In reality, that's all just QB chakra mode with Naruto using less and more of the Nine Tails chakra. It's varying, right? So Naruto can't be saying, "Oh, I need KCM1 to fight Sasuke." Hasn't happened yet. He doesn't even know if that's a thing. So it's just far more likely that that's what that statement is talking about. And I think
and then once again, guys, the reason why it's definitely being correlated to KCM1. Because the entire time it's all about Minato saying you need to master his power, so you can obtain the power, whatever, yada yada. Like literally, if you read the entire chapter and everything that's there, there's an abundance of evidence and context, etc., correlating that it is KCM1's power. Because literally, when he goes to the island and goes to train to master the Nine Tails power to be able to use it, to utilize it to fight Sasuke, he literally gets KCM1. So it's definitely pertaining to KCM1, but just putting that out there. Well, once again, I understand like his whole logic and comprehension of it and his arguments, but when it comes to like the higher possibility, I would definitely say he needs KCM1 to combat him. You know what I mean? And it's just kind of always narratively shown. It's shown in the anime. It's shown even when they both have 6 pass forms. You name it. Shit, better yet, it's even shown in the fucking war arc. So Sasuke uses Susanoo, Naruto is using his KCM forms.
In context. Maybe this is at full power a Sasuke dub. I think Swag has a little bit of a different interpretation where he thinks Naruto wins, so I'll let him go over that. But I think that Sasuke, being able to react to the Raikage and whatnot, would kind of put him over KCM Naruto, who I think is faster than Sage Mode Naruto, at least from this arc. But yeah, I'll let Swag talk now. I've been rambling forever.
No, you got it. I mean, that was good, right? It was good to lay all that out there. So, first of all, I would like to say I am on the same page. I agree that statement about Naruto, or like the statement that Naruto gives where he's like, yeah, I'm going to need to master the Nine Tails to fight him. It just doesn't make any sense for it to be a strict power statement because it's based off of blind Sasuke, like you said. And I don't even like the idea that blind Sasuke is stronger than Sage Mode Naruto, let alone as strong as KCM2. That's stupid. So, he's
But
probably
yeah, no,
just
not
saying
blind
that they're
Sasuke.
equal in
Yeah, not blind Sasuke. What's it called? Sage of Naruto would definitely slam blind Sasuke, but Sasuke at full power with Mingekyo access and full vision with Susanoo, no, he's not beating that.
in base. So, who you think wins comes down to whether you think Sage Mode is stronger than the Mangekyo amp at full power. And now, one thing I should say too is that it's not just that Sasuke is getting stronger because his Susanoo is developing further. The Mangekyo is passively buffing him too, which is something that Karin points out at the beginning of the arc when she notes that his chakra is colder and more intense even than Curse Mark II. So Sasuke is getting a greater than Curse Mark II buff just from the Mangekyo existing, right, like at all. And that's at that point. By the end of the arc, his Susanoo is fully developed. His Mangekyo is thus like Six said. Obito points out that as his...
So I'll play devil's advocate there. Technically, that's a little bit contentious because never is it definitively said that like Sasuke's stats, like his speed, strength, you name it, all that shit is like being blatantly enhanced. There's moments in Naruto where it blatantly says that, like for the gates, for the Nine Tails power, for Sage Mode, etc. You know, when it comes to Mingekyo or even the Sharingan itself, any statement regarding around to just blatantly buffing up stats for the Uchihas, it's very vague. You know what I mean? And it's all nothing but speculative or interpretation territory to where you can think of it as if it's pertaining mainly to the abilities that the eye gives, you know what I mean? Or better yet, to Susanoo, you know what I mean, once again. Or if it's boiling down to, basically an ability and power sense, you know what I mean? Not necessarily a stats boost. So, there is that as well. You could definitely say for sure that helps with like perception increase, you name it, whatnot, all that stuff. Obviously, stronger Genjutsu is blatant evidence for that. But to say it most definitely buffs up his stats, that's a little contentious. Because there is a statement with Karen where she says like, oh, his chakra is the same as, or colder or whatever before, like when he had like CM2 or whatever. You know what I mean? And we know CM2 was a buff because it was a 10 times multiplier, you know what I mean? And like, power and chakra. And that's just kind of how Sage Mode works. And Sage Mode also, the Curse Mark is literally Sage Mode basically, but it's just in an artificial way, if that makes sense. So no matter what, like we know that how all that works, but the difference though is that's why his chakra was even, like that to begin with. And yeah, it makes sense for the Curse Mark. You know what I mean? For this situation, it's a Mingekyo. It's not a fucking Curse Mark. And there's nothing to actually definitively suggest that his stats are being, buffed up, Instead, his chakra is super cold or whatever, that's fine. But once again, it doesn't mean that your power and stats are going up, buffed up. Like, Karen says the same thing about Naruto, where she says his chakra is absolutely beautiful and peaceful, you name it, whatever. Does that now mean that Naruto is, like, his stats are going up as well just in base? No, it doesn't make any sense. And then eventually she even sees the evil chakra and she's like, oh my god, like this chakra, it's so sinister and dark, whatever, blah, blah, like, what is this, you name it. Once again, there's nothing even saying that, like, that power is boosting its stats, you know what I mean, or whatever. It's just saying, like, how dark the chakra is. Like, your chakra literally can either have a darkness or a light or whatever to it, but it doesn't mean necessarily that it's actually amplifying your stats, you know what I mean? There's only certain exceptions to where it is, whether if it's like a, a tail beast, Curse Mark, Sage Mode, Gates, things like that, For the Mingekyo, it's a little bit out there in the wind. We actually don't know definitively, unfortunately. There's ways to argue that it does amplify your stats and whatever, etc. But it's all statements related. Once again, there's nothing definitively or anything where it's just blatantly being stated like, oh, Sasuke's Mingekyo now makes his stats more stronger, or Sasuke's Mingekyo is making him faster, stronger, you know what I mean? And all this shit, whatever. That's never ever stated. Never. So that's a little hard. So that's why when people say like, oh, like Sasuke's only getting stronger because his Susanoo is getting stronger, you know what I mean? Like in his transform, whatever, blah, blah. That's understandable. And, that's why it's a little weird for Swagkage to disagree with that. I understand why he does. He has like good reasoning, you name it, etc. Like it makes perfect sense. And especially if you argue that way, like I'm being honest with you, it makes sense. Like there's nothing wrong with it. But the reason why people say it's just the Susanoo, whatever, is because it's blatantly clear that when the Susanoo's transforming, it's getting stronger and stronger. And then not only that, Susanoo is literally spiritual chakra that's manifested within you. You know what I mean? Like if you actually look into how Susanoo works and how it operates as a whole in Naruto, it's connected to their chakra, so like the chakra as Susanoo, it makes sense for that being, really strong, and it's blatantly, and then there's even statements and feats to collaborate that notion, like literally when he's like killing Dante, whatever, like Dante said, oh wow, he's way faster, the Susanoo's so powerful and he's super fast, blah blah. Even his arrow ability is like speed blitz fucking fast, like, so the Susanoo is definitely clearly a very powerful thing, So meaning in a nutshell, we know for a fact that Susanoo is an amp of itself, but to say Sasuke's body is also being amped as well, that's a little hard. You know what I mean? It's a little hard. But overall, like, that's just kind of what you're working with. You know what I mean? That's basically it. But just kind of want to put that out there. So there's ways to argue it, but I wouldn't say necessarily it's definitive. You know what I mean? You could maybe say it's the higher possibility, or things like that. But that's all you can really do. If we're being as transparent as possible.
Rage grows, so does his power. So this boost should be way, way, way beyond the scope of anything Curse Mark II could have offered to him at this point. So if you think that Sasuke...
Basically, in a simple consensus, the devil's advocate or the counter argument for that is it's a false equivalence. You know what I mean? The Curse Mark does operate in that way, while Sasuke's Mangekyo doesn't. You know what I mean?
Full power against Naruto here. I think that's valid. It really just, like I said, it comes down to a question that doesn't have a conclusive answer, which is, do you think that Sage Mode is stronger than the boost that Sasuke is getting now? Because they are equal in base. That much is demonstrated. And I honestly don't know. I think
And another thing I'll say for that, too, when Sasuke goes to fight Naruto with his Chidori, you know what I mean? Like, Sasuke is not at full power. Like, he's blind... He's fatigued, you name it. You know what I mean? Like, he's not at full power, and he's stalemating with this Naruto. And then Naruto, let's be real, in character, he always holds back. Always. You know what I mean? Like, so for all we know, like, Naruto's probably not even going full power with his goddamn Rasengan, being an idiot, like, even before. So, like, it really comes down to, like, a lot of variables that we really just don't know, unfortunately. Because basically, like, let's say Naruto was going full power at that moment, right? Which would be weird and out of character because we do know the Rasengan is stronger than Chidori, okay? Like, then he would have just killed Sasuke, and you know what I mean? Like, I feel like that would be more blatant, clear, like, or there at least need to be something saying, like, they're both going full power or whatever. We know Sasuke is because he wants to kill Naruto, but Naruto, we know how he is, you know what I mean? So, like, no matter what, like, the fact that Sasuke could still stalemate with a holding back Naruto is very impressive for him, and can kind of potentially indicate the fact that Sasuke, maybe if he was at full power, would definitely beat that Naruto's Rasengan at that current point in time. Now, if it's Naruto going, utilizing his full power, though, then it would still be a stalemate in a sense. You know what I mean? Or Naruto would actually overcome the jutsu. Because technically, once again, the Rasengan is stronger. Like, the only way for you to overcome a jutsu that's just naturally stronger than yours, or especially if it's like your elemental weakness, is if you apply more chakra control and you utilize it in a way where you can overpower the technique, or stalemate it, So
actually would lean towards Sasuke, but I think that Naruto is like really strong, especially based on his fight with Kurama, which happened shortly after this and after not a ton of training. Like, Naruto is slightly stronger in the fight against Kurama than in the 5 Kage Summit, but he's doing all sorts of crazy stuff, making loads and loads of shadow clones, the Sage Mode, Rasengan Mega Barrage, that exploding Rasen Shuriken that damaged Kurama. So there's a good argument that Naruto could beat Sasuke here, but I don't know. I think I'd probably just...
So I'll say this, and that's fair for Swag to say as well. The one thing you could also say with that is... Technically, that doesn't count because that Naruto was only able to do that many fucking clones due to, like, the mental amp he had. And then, 2, he was able to, apply Sage Mode to all those clones because he was sitting down and he's in the mental astral, place. If he was in the real world, he actually wouldn't be able to do that. It's stated verbatim. He can only have, I think it's either 2 or 3 clones that can have Sage Mode using it with him in conjunction. You know what I mean? And, like, combining wise. He can't do that many clones and they all have that Sage Mode. It's literally impossible. That was only a feat that could be possible in the astral world, and there is plenty of context and evidence for that. So no matter what, like, technically that you can't really put into consideration. So meaning Naruto's not going to have the ability to just spam, like, who knows how many fucking clones he did at that point, with and all having nothing but massive Rasengans and shit like that, or fucking Rising Shurikens. Like, that's just not gonna happen. So I'm just, once again, I'm just kind of putting that out there. You know what I mean? But either way, like, at the end of the day, it's still interesting, and it's really, really interesting. I mean, it's very, very interesting. It boils down to where, if you really, like they're saying, if you really think Sage Mode Naruto is that fucking strong and powerful, then he should just be able to win, Or if you don't, and you think they're basically equal to each other, or you think Sasuke's still stronger, but Naruto's at least relative in a sense with Sage Mode, where he won't just die instantly and at least can survive for a good amount of time, but then once his timer runs out, then he's fucked, you know what I mean? That's kind of what you're working with, So it is what it is. Personally, in my opinion, I think Sasuke wins that and takes it. I just feel like he has way more going for him. Genjutsu, Mataratsu, fucking precog, then the Susanoo, the arrow, like just so much shit, to where I do think if like Naruto does a Rising Shuriken, it's not going through the Susanoo, and then or Sasuke could just jump out of the way if need be, or just try to block it, or shoot his arrow at the Rising Shuriken. Like, there's just so many ways Sasuke can deal with Sage Mode Naruto, while with Naruto, he doesn't really have ways to get through the Susanoo. You know what I mean? It's just always been shown that he needs the power of the Nine Tails to do that. So I would say, Sasuke would still win that fight. I would say it would be just like what happened in the final Valley of the End. It'd be a good fight, but Naruto would still lose. He would need the Nine Tails in order to beat him, just like what the statement is eventually even said as well. So that's my take.
Say this is a tie or inconclusive. If you put a gun to my head and made me pick, I might go with Sasuke. But if I'm allowed to use feats from Naruto versus Kurama, I might go with Naruto. So, I don't know. But, if you restrict the feats to strictly, 5 Kage Summit and prior, then I think that it's probably a Sasuke win. But I'm not super comfortable picking either one.
Yeah. So, that one's more so a tie. And then
yeah,
next
you can
is
just...
Mid-War.
No point for either one of them. If you guys want, just because we've been showing so much love to Sasuke, I can throw Naruto a markup on the board if you really want. Just for the sake of appeasing people. But I don't know if it's going to matter because of how many wins Sasuke has already racked
Yeah.
Yeah, quite a bit.
The next fight is in the middle.
So this might be where I disagree with Swag and 6 the most, right?
Yep.
So I'm playing devil's advocate once again.
I knew it.
Of course.
Me
Naruto
and Jake
says,
think
I'll
very
need the
similar,
Kyuubi's
bro.
chakra in order to beat Sasuke, right? I'll need the Kyuubi's chakra. Now, keep in mind, this is something Naruto is saying in character as well, right? What is his own arbitrary definition of beating Sasuke? It's causing Sasuke to submit and come back. That's his definition of beating Sasuke.
Yep.
Right?
Like he's
keep
always
in mind,
done.
he is observing a blind Sasuke, right? That was able to stalemate his Rasengan with his own Chidori. So, I think there's more empirically to imply that Sasuke, at full power, would beat Naruto, even with Sage Mode. Because Naruto possesses Sage Mode, and yet he still goes out of his way to say, I need the Kyuubi's chakra in order to beat Sasuke.
Yeah, he doesn't just
I
say,
think
I need Sage Mode to do it. Exactly.
That statement holds a lot of weight. More so than Swag and 6 are giving it credit for. I think that he needs Nine-Tail intervention to defeat Sasuke, even a blind Sasuke. So I think that full power Sasuke, the one that was reacting to the 4th Raikage, defeats this iteration of Naruto. Without Nine-Tail intervention, of course. A full power Sasuke, keep that in mind. A blind Sasuke, I have a harder time concluding that a blind Sasuke would beat Sage Mode Naruto. I have a hard time with that. But a full power one, I do believe defeats Naruto. Naruto would need Nine-Tail's intervention. Naruto's statement reinforces that premise. I don't think it's as close as they are claiming it to be. I think that the gap is somewhat clear between Naruto and full power 5 Kage Summon Sasuke. Honestly. I think that Naruto would fail to him. I think Naruto would fall. I do believe so.
Once again, it's even shown in the anime that Sage Mode Naruto is not enough to beat 5 Kage Summon Sasuke. The narrative always supports that notion. The statement is very, very strong, and the whole context and all the evidence around that literally eventually shows KCM1 when he finally masters the Nine-Tails power, right, in that sense. There's just so much, you know what I mean? So, and then not only that, better yet, when we see KCM Naruto versus Nagato, you know what I mean? He says, I'm a lot stronger when I fought Pain. You know what I mean? Comparing himself to Sage Mode Naruto. So I just, once again, like, I feel like there's way, way more just to definitely support the notion that it is referring to power and to KCM1 and et cetera, et cetera. I mean, that he does need a Nine Tails power and Sage Mode would not be enough, you know?
Sasuke's gotten significantly stronger here. And again, he's talking about a blind Sasuke currently, not full power Swagkage summon Sasuke. That's the best presupposition we can come up with because that's who he's currently in front of. Not full power Sasuke, not the one fighting the Raikage, the blind one. That's the one he was observing when he made this statement. Right, so simply put, I do think Swagkage summon Sasuke more than likely defeats Naruto in this instance.
Same.
Let's continue on though.
Of the war, so it's basically as soon as Sasuke is able to fight again, which is when he gets the Eternal Mangekyo Sharingan and recovers from the surgery. So this would be Sasuke with Itachi's eyes and the Eternal Mangekyo Sharingan versus Naruto having, I guess, mastered the Nine Tails Chakra as far as he's aware, but he hasn't really mastered it yet because he doesn't have KCM2. So this is basically KCM1 mid to early war Naruto versus EMS Sasuke. I think that Sasuke takes this because his performance is much more consistent with Naruto's performance later in the war, like when they're fighting Ten Tails Obito or just the Ten Tails, for example. Sasuke seems to be able to keep pace with that KCM Naruto. And I'll talk more about KCM2 in the next round, but I think that it's safe to assume that that version of Naruto is stronger than the one from earlier in the war because he's been fighting a
Agreed.
lot. And I mean, now before anybody says, well, that the opposite should actually be true, Swag, because since he's been fighting, he should be fatigued. He gets his chakra back a lot, right? And fighting makes you stronger in Naruto. This much has been stated before. Many characters have gotten stronger just by fighting. It actually happens many times throughout the war. And if you want to think of it like this, an actual fight is basically just like a training exercise, but with real stakes. So doing all these fights against all these people with all these shadow clones spread all across the world should have made Naruto stronger, I think, in the time between when this fight would be happening and when Sasuke displayed relativity to Naruto later in the war. So I think it's pretty safe to say that Sasuke would win this fight. But what's your opinion?
Yeah, so I am in agreement as well. Main reason why, like, I'll also play devil's advocate and argue a little bit for Naruto just in case, but the reason why is because, once again, when you kind of see Sasuke, he's being relative with arguably a stronger KCM Naruto. Once again, if you want to use the fighting argument, sure, but that's contentious though. But what we do know is Naruto technically has more access to the Nine Tails Chakra, and we actually get to see that even visually, to where a lot of people actually call it like 1.5 KCM Naruto, because KCM Naruto is literally just, it's like it is Naruto's normal look, and it has the whole chakra, right? 1.5 KCM Naruto gives him like a little bit of a cloak in a way, but it's still the KCM1 look, if that makes sense. While KCM2 is like the full cloak, and you name it, it's a blatant difference, you know? So you can basically argue that if he has more access to the Nine Tails Chakra, meaning he should be stronger, faster, etc., and that Sasuke is at least shown to be shown relativity with that particular Naruto. Whether if you think that Sasuke actually is in the same power level or not, you know what I mean, whatever, that's fine. But either way, they're referring to the beginning KCM Naruto when he first acquires the form. And I would say, based upon all those feats, you name it, whatever, if we had to really choose a winner, you could definitely lean with Sasuke. But at the same time, okay, there's always the argument for Naruto, like, what if he gets like a mental amp, you know what I mean? And then he starts like spamming fucking 2,000 plus clones, you know, whatever, and Naruto just gets overwhelmed. Or imagine 2,000 plus massive fucking Raisengans coming, or Rising Shurikens from the KCM form, you know, like, maybe that'll be enough and goes right through the Susanoo, and then Sasuke's done, you know what I mean? This also depends what EMS Sasuke we're talking about. Is this beginning EMS Sasuke, or is it late EMS Sasuke? Because late EMS Sasuke definitely is beating KCM1 Naruto, because he even acquires perfect Susanoo, while early EMS Sasuke, he's only able to do the humanoid, where it has legs and shit, you name it, you know? So overall, like that depends too. But I'm assuming they're mainly talking about early EMS Sasuke and also early KCM Naruto. So meaning, therefore, I would agree. I would definitely agree. Now, if it's 1.5 KCM Naruto, I would say that Naruto would probably beat Sasuke, mainly due to the fact that, like with the amount of clones he can do, having more chakra, you name it, he's more likely going to get the W, Or, worst case scenario, like Sasuke gets like a hatred amp and doesn't want to lose to Naruto, right? Gets now perfect Susanoo, and Naruto's like, oh fuck, and then he gets his KCM 2 form. That's literally how I would see that fight going. Like, literally. If I'm being honest with you, like, it goes from normal KCM, right? Sasuke's fighting whatever, not enough. He gets more chakra. He gets like his 1.5 KCM. Now he's kind of dogging Sasuke, and then it's kind of like the Final of the Valley vibes. You know what I mean? Like it's going in Sasuke's favor, but then now it's in Naruto's favor. Literally how it would go. And then Sasuke gets pissed, gets his perfect Susanoo. Naruto's like, fuck this. He gets mad or whatever, gets his mental amp. Now he's in KCM 2. It's going whatever. They're fighting, brawling, and it just kind of goes from there, right? And then the moment Naruto gets a Sage Mode stacked, it's over. Like Sasuke is fucked at that point. You know what I mean? So, like, overall, that's kind of what you're working with. That's what I would say for the most part with their War Arc, variants. But that's my take personally.
I agree completely. Like, it's way more safe to say Sasuke would win than it would be to throw in all of the would be and could be's.
Early War Arc Sasuke beats early Naruto. Early War Arc Naruto. I agree.
And then there's other stuff too, like when Naruto fights against Itachi. And granted, you can say that this is because Naruto's fatigued because he just made all the clones, which is fair. But Naruto doesn't really seem to compare to Itachi like at all in this fight. Like, they start fighting and they seem kind of close, but then when Itachi breaks free and actually starts trying, he's the only one doing anything against Nagato, and he's actually pretty close in power to Nagato. Like, the two of them seem like fairly relative.
So that's interesting. Swagkage is like when he actually starts trying. That's interesting because when we know how Edo Tensei operates and works as a whole, like it's basically boils upon the demands of the user, and he wants them to capture Naruto. So meaning they're definitely going full power and going all at it. You know what I mean? The only thing that they could do is use their motor skills and talk while they're trying to capture him, whatever. So Itachi's definitely still going full power. I don't know about that one. What's it called? Like, I guess you could say, like, since he's not, no longer Edo Tensei control and not being controlled by Kodo Matsukami and Genjutsu, you know what I mean? To where, like, to protect, the Hidden Leaf or whatever, that therefore now it's, like, somehow beneficial in a way. I don't know, but overall, like, no matter what, it's still the same Itachi. Whether if he's being controlled by, Genjutsu or Edo Tensei, whatever, at the end of the fucking day, it's still Itachi. You know what I mean? So, like, I don't know about all that one. Just to say that he's not going out full power is a little weird. Because then that's like the same for Nagato, to where, you know what I mean, like he's being controlled as an Edo Tensei and he's not at full power. That doesn't make any fucking sense because Kabuto is ordering him to go at full power, and capture them, and that's it, and go from there. And I mean, like, better yet, recently Jay the Great was in a debate with Shinobi, which is a very good one, by the way, if you guys never seen it. Go check it out if you haven't. But, like, one of Jay's arguments, like, why would Nagato not be at full power as Edo Tensei? Like, Kabuto ordered him. You name it. Like, how would the Edo Tensei be limiting him or incapacitating him in a way, to, like, make him more nerfed, right? That doesn't make sense. Because some people would argue, like, well, it's not Nagato behind the wheel. It's Kabuto, whatever you name it. So, therefore, Nagato's kind of nerfed or whatever, yada, yada. At the end of the day, the stats aren't nerfed, though. You could say, like, how they would operate in a sense could be nerfed in a way, right? You know what I mean? But to say their stats are nerfed or their power and whatnot, that doesn't make any sense. That would still remain the same, So I don't know about all that one. You know what I mean? There's ways you can argue in the sense, but it's really going to be very, very hard to convey and prove that Itachi is somehow, some way holding back, even though he's being ordered to capture Naruto. I don't agree with that at all. So.
Whereas, at least I'll say, just so 6 doesn't get mad.
Because basically what Swag is saying is Itachi was holding back originally. I mean, to nerf Naruto or whatever. And then next thing you know, like, Itachi was the one to combat against Nagato and then be able to give him the W. Otherwise, Killer Bee and Naruto would have died. Therefore, like, Itachi had to be holding back, right? Well, if anything, you could say, like, to the contrary, to where Itachi is at full power still. and Naruto's going whatever you name it. Nagato gets his full power, because at first he was not at full power, and he was literally like white hair and like a crippled, fucked up body, you know what I mean, and had like that level of full power. But then the moment he like stole Killer Bee's chakra and brought it to, you know what I mean, to his pool, his hair turns red, his body's fully conditioned and healed now. Now he's at like full ability and you name it and potential, to where he just shits on Killer Bee and Naruto. I mean, absolutely shits on them. So meaning at that point, you know what I mean, you could basically confirm that Nagato is like really high. Itachi is on the same level as like KCM, Naruto, and Killer Bee in a sense, but would win due to like abilities and Susanoo, right? And then basically like, you know, that's kind of what you're working with, you know? And it makes sense, because if you actually analyze the fight overall, whatever, basically what you see in a way is like Itachi attacking when there's certain openings, when there's a blind spot, or whenever there's like a diversion happening, that's when Itachi will strike at Nagato. Never does Itachi strike at Nagato where it's like fair game, where they're looking at each other, you know what I mean? Or when he has all his summonings with the linked vision. Never does that happen, you know what I mean? Instead, he has to sever the linked vision and create blind spots and attack from that, or utilize a diversion, that big ass fucking explosion, after they threw all their most powerful techniques at Jiraku Tensei. You know what I mean? So like, that's when Itachi's actually able to get the better hand, which makes sense, because most Naruto characters, if, you know what I mean, and whatnot, let's say someone is, you know, slightly more stronger than you, or even if you're equal to the person, you need to do something in order to create an opening, right? Whether if that's a cloud of smoke, a shadow clone, substitution, whatever the fuck case may be, you know what I mean? Or attacking from behind, or their blind spot. That's how you're going to more than likely get the upper hand. We see that throughout the Naruto show all the time. Kakashi and Kakuzu is a perfect example. Zabuza and Kakashi is a perfect example. There's so many examples, you know what I mean? Sasuke and Naruto. So no matter what, like, that's just kind of what you're working with. So in a way, like I said, you can argue back and forth with that, but I don't know about that one.
Different conversation though. They're at least relative in power, but like Nagato just eclipses Naruto and Bee. This much is demonstrated. Then later, Sasuke, while he's not as strong as Itachi when the two of them are fighting against Kabuto, he just seems like a way closer match for Itachi than Naruto was.
I agree with that.
They're doing team attacks and stuff. Sasuke's intercepting attacks directed at Itachi. You know, he's like hitting Kabuto. Like, he's actually helping Itachi, which is more than Naruto and Bee did against Nagato. So I think all signs point to Sasuke being superior at this point in the series.
Yeah.
Yeah, another thing you could also say in defense for Naruto is, like, when it comes to Sasuke to Itachi, like, Sasuke actually tries to deal with Itachi, and Itachi just fucking slaps his Susanoo away and says, get that shit out of here, like, you're not on my level, bitch, still. You know what I mean? And mind you, Sasuke has an EMS while Itachi doesn't, you know? So, and then once again, when you see the whole interaction with him and Casey and Naruto, you see that as well. Even though it is a nerf Naruto, it's not at full power. You know what I mean? But like, you have that as well. And then on top of it, then there's even the point where to where also you could also argue that Naruto is also not trying to like technically immediately immobilize Itachi or like instant no diff him like he's doing like all these other people, because he's literally trying to have a conversation with Itachi. Naruto is still in control of his body and actions. Itachi is not. Itachi can talk, but he can't stop himself from attacking Naruto and trying to capture him. You know what I mean? While Naruto, he can. He can talk and control his body. So there is definitely the fair argument that Naruto is technically not trying to take him out right there and there, and that is the only reason why Itachi was even being shown to basically be relative in a sense, you know what I mean? Or at least equal to him and to a nerf fatigue Naruto. So you do have all that as well, you know, I'm just saying. So that's kind of something you can work with. But either way, no matter what, when it comes down to it, I would definitely still say, with the comparison with Sasuke with Itachi against Sage Kabuto, even during the war arc, I would say it's safe to say he definitely would beat Casey and Naruto. I would say, you know?
100%. And then we get the late war.
So this is when Naruto has KCM2, and if you want to be really, really, really nice to Naruto, the very end of the war, KCM2 Sage Mode Naruto. Either version, though, Sasuke doesn't have a chance. He takes one look at KCM2, and it makes him mad.
Literally.
It does.
Like, he's like,
it does.
Naruto has this much chakra. Perfect
Yeah.
control over this much chakra. So We don't even really need to talk about Sasuke getting mad at KCM2 because we have him directly compared to and equal to KCM1 Naruto or Master KCM, whichever one you say. So Sasuke is just absolutely beneath KCM2 Naruto. So Naruto would smash him.
And if you
And
give
then
Naruto
Sage
KCM2
mode?
Sage mode, yeah, like, oh my god.
Like Sasuke had to get help from Naruto himself and Jugo to keep up with that version of Naruto.
Yeah. Like, yep, there's that as well. And then not only that, like another thing just to substantiate that notion even further, it's just blatantly clear. Like, he gets really pissed off. He gets really mad at KCM2 form, and he gets even more pissed off when he puts Sage mode. Like, he gets butthurt and he's clenching his fist and everything. He's like, you know what I mean? He's having a fucking rooftop moment all over again when he sees Naruto's Rasengan was stronger than his full power Chidori, you know? So, no matter what, like, when it comes to it, absolutely agree. If this is early Sasuke, that I absolutely agree. You know what I mean? Now, if it's end of the war, EMS Sasuke, that actually you could still argue in favor for Sasuke because he would also have access to Perfect Susanoo. And Perfect Susanoo, I could definitely see that going blow for blow with the KCM2 avatar. You know what I mean? And then if you do like in combination with like the Mataratsu arrows and shit, whatever you name it, at the end of the day, you basically see where I'm getting at. It's more than likely going to be exactly what we saw with the 6-pass forms of seeing, the avatar against his Perfect Susanoo, It'd be the same shit. So if it's end of the war arc EMS Sasuke with Perfect Susanoo, then I do think he's not getting bitched by KCM2. I do think it's fair game and just boils down to whoever can be able to pull it off and win. And that's just kind of what you're working with. And I'm going to be honest with you, with that scenario, I really don't know who would take it. I really don't know. Like, if I had to put money, maybe Naruto, because let's say maybe he like spams like so many fucking Kurama avatars of himself, or let's say even like stacks Sage mode as a last resort, then I would say Naruto probably, right? So like at the end of the day, my money would still be on Naruto, but I think that would be a very close battle. And at that point, it also just boils down to, you know what I mean? Like, how it goes in a sense. Obviously, if it's an in character, Naruto's going to be holding back. So you do have that as like a further advantage to Sasuke as well. And I mean, in a way, because he doesn't want to kill Sasuke. But at the same time, Naruto's not going to hold back enough to get fucking bitched either, So it would be a good fight. I'll say it'd be a good fight if it's in character. It could go either way, basically, I'll say. Now, if it's bloodlusted, then I would say Naruto's more than likely taking that shit. You know what I mean? If I really had to pick, I would say it would still be a good battle. I do think Perfect Susanoo would fill in the gap in a way. But, that's kind of what to work with. But once again, absolutely agree with them. If it's early EMS Sasuke, and he does not have access to Perfect Susanoo, only a humanoid, and he literally needed 2 amps to even show relativity, you know what I mean, to fucking a Sage Mode KCM2 Naruto. He needed Jugo's Sage Mode amp, and on top of it, Naruto's chakra. Like, come on, bro. Like, it should be clear as day, bro.
And I think Naruto was still clearly superior to him, too. And this was also while Naruto was in the middle of sharing chakra.
That's a good point. He was sharing.
Yeah, he shared all his chakra with everybody else, too. So technically, theoretically, it's not even a full power KCM2 Naruto.
People, by the way, many members of the Allied Shinobi forces, and he was sharing enough chakra with like all of the Konoha 11 that they were getting their own KCM2 cloaks. So this was like, I mean, like he was doing a lot. He was giving people a lot, and he was still just leaps and bounds ahead of Sasuke. It's just not fair at all.
Sasuke loses terribly. And
this might be the worst one so far, actually. Yeah. I think this one is a bigger gap than Start of Shippuden is.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Really?
And then you got 6 pads.
All right, so I want to discuss that one quickly. I don't know if it's a large, substantial gap between the two. I think the chakra reserves are preposterously different. Naruto has, clear and away, way more chakra than Sasuke could dream of, right, at this point in time. With KCM2 Sage Mode and aiding many Shinobi Alliance individuals at the same time, simultaneously. He clearly has the chakra reserve advantage. But I do think Sasuke throughout the war gets stronger as well, right? And I do think the gap isn't as large as they say. Regardless, I do think Naruto wins. The end of the war arc proves that, right? Even when they have 6 pass, he's still superior.
Yeah.
And he doesn't have killer intent. All right, so there's that. So I do think the gap is closer, just to give Sasuke some credit. But then again, Swag and Six made a good point. They said Naruto was aiding the entire alliance at the same time. He was fighting Jubito simultaneously while doing so, etc. So I do see KCM2 taking this one, more than likely, in the vast majority of instances. I don't think it's a stomp and that he's way above superior to Sasuke.
No, absolutely not. If it's early, yes. If it's full power EMS Sasuke, like with perfect stunning, you name it, absolutely agree with Jay. Absolutely agree. And then, and that's basically what you're working with. Now, once again, if Naruto stacks Sage Mode, though, I'm sorry, there's nothing Sasuke can do. That, he's definitely getting washed the fuck up. You know what I mean? Like, come on. You know what I mean? So.
But I do think he wins in the majority of instances. Let's continue on. I just wanted to give Sasuke some credit here.
Absolutely.
Naruto's still the clear winner here.
And Naruto is the clear.
Yeah, I mean, he won.
So, I mean, mainly from the Final Valley fight, because this is another fight that sort of just happened. Sasuke lost after having multiple advantages.
Yeah.
And Naruto's
holding back, uses all the Tail Beast power to even fuck with him, and takes his chakra in the end and still loses, bro. Like, I'm sorry, but Naruto is just way more powerful than Sasuke at this point. It was literally the Hashirama treatment to Madara all over again. You know what I mean? Like, when Hashirama went Sage Mode, it wasn't even a competition at that point anymore. He bitched the Majestic Susanoo, the Nine Tails, and Madara all at once. Easily. You know what I mean? If you want to give Madara a little bit more generosity, low diff, Nine Tails and Madara together, But like, I'm sorry, but Hashirama and Naruto, they're just built different, bro. When they're at their peak, they're built different.
Naruto's holding back for one, right? And he's playing defensive most of the fight. And Sasuke calls him out for this. He's like, bro, are you only gonna play defense? Like, you can't beat me by only playing defense. And Naruto mentions over and over again how this isn't how he wants him and Sasuke's fight to go. Like, he's like, this isn't my dream. Like, this isn't how I figured me and you would end the little squabbling or whatever.
Yeah.
So Naruto's holding.
Naruto even hints those narrative implications during fucking part 1, bro. Like the beginning. You know what I mean? Like, even when, like, how their fight ended, towards the end, he never wanted to be that way. He wanted to be in a normal means and regard and to win in a respectable way, Not a fucking life and death battle. You know what I mean? We must kill each other type vibes,
And then wins in the end. After Sasuke absorbs all the chakra from the Biju, he just loses. So,
that is true as well, because after everything that happens, Naruto's still awake, but Sasuke was knocked the fuck out. That is also true. Naruto was the only one still awake, while Sasuke was knocked the fuck out. They both lost their arms, but Naruto was still awake. And meaning, if it was a death battle, while all those conditions, holding back, you name it, Naruto would have won. It would have been like the Final Valley, where basically now Sasuke's at Naruto's mercy instead.
Yeah. Just
Like, look, that motherfucker even had gravity on his side, bro. He even put a Materatsu on his Chidori, bro. And Naruto's basic Rasengan, not big, massive, or super massive. A normal Rasengan, bro, was able to beat gravity, Chidori, and a Materatsu at the same time. Come on, bro.
I think that there's also a little bit of narrative subtext in the way that the scene is directed too. It seems, and now maybe this is a stretch, Kishimoto, like, he has a history of doing this sort of thing. Like, a good example that's relevant for this video is when Team 7 first runs into Sasuke again. He's above them, and that the scene is framed that way to clearly convey to the viewer, without the need for any dialogue, that Sasuke is stronger than they are. So in the Final Valley fight, when they have their Rasengan and Chidori clash, they're not on even ground like they are the first time it happens, but instead Sasuke is falling and Naruto is going up. So in a literal sense, this means that Naruto has to fight against gravity, whereas Sasuke is being helped by gravity. But also, I think it's very easy to read into this and like infer that this is supposed to be Kishimoto saying that Naruto is fighting an uphill battle.
It's actually a very, very intelligent analysis from Swagkage. That's actually very, very goated. Really, really good way. He's basically pulling through the argument of like a comparison with the narrative analysis of Naruto. You know what I mean? Like, with how everything's always blatant, like beautifully illustrated by Kishimoto. You know what I mean? The atmosphere, you know, like how it like looks, the visual effect, all that shit. It kind of goes, you know, to support and substantiate the notion that it's trying to convey to the audience. That's a very, very good analysis from Swagkage.
Because Sasuke is fighting without restraint, but Naruto has the discipline and like also lacks the desire
to kill,
like necessary to want to kill Sasuke. So I think that everything just points to Naruto like being stronger here.
Yeah.
A lot of people like to say, "Oh, Sasuke only said he lost because Naruto still wanted to fight at the end, even though they were in the same condition." Blah 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 blah. But Sasuke conceded. The fight did actually happen, and Sasuke said Naruto won. So I think that should be good
very
enough.
blatant.
But if you want to analyze it further than that, everything that Six said is valid. Then plus,
Now, I'll play devil's advocate with that really quick as well. Technically, when Sasuke's saying he lost, that's more because there's a lot of context and variables. That's more with them having their dialogues and basically Naruto trying to, you know, make him snap out of his stupid ways, yada yada. There was a lot of context, and that was more with like Sasuke saying, "I lost, you win." Like, I mean, like, I'm not gonna be bad Sasuke anymore. I'm gonna be good Sasuke, how I was in the past, type of vibes. You know what I mean? So technically, you know what I mean, you could argue false equivalence, and say that was with a different, you know, terms and conditions. Not like as meaning he lost the battle, but meaning like he lost, like, you know what I mean, and trying to be this crazy psychopath going on the path of loneliness and vengeance, you name it, right? And yada yada. So, you know, there is that too. But no matter what, it is blatantly, definitively, with just feats and all the other statements, that Naruto is just way above. And then even with the visual and narrative effects and implications, like blatantly clear as day. So
I said, just to add on to it, I think that Kishimoto did it on purpose, right? Because he could have, and it would have been very easy to just draw the exact same type of Rasengan and Chidori clash that they did before. Another thing too, another advantage that Sasuke has is that he puts Enton in his Chidori. So it's like an amped Chidori that ties with Naruto's regular base Rasengan.
Correct.
So Sasuke had every advantage possible in this fight. And like I was saying, Kishimoto could have drawn it at a neutral angle where they were both clashing on an even playing field, but he chose, for some reason, to have Sasuke falling and Naruto going up. So I think that his goal here, I think that there had to be a reason for it, and I think that the reason was because he wanted to make it apparent that Naruto was the stronger of the two.
And that's fair, and it's absolutely fucking super intelligent for him to even bring up. Just goes to show how intelligent Swagkage is as a person. And then most importantly, it just makes sense. It just makes so much sense for so many right reasons.
There's also stuff from the fight with Kaguya, like Naruto just performs better regularly against her.
Yeah,
but we
that
don't
too.
Really have to go into that because, like we said, Sasuke
performs way better than Sasuke. You know what I mean? Way better. And at that point, they're trying to beat her. They're trying to defeat her. And eventually come to a simple conclusion that they have to seal her because there's just no fucking way. You know what I mean? But yeah, he performed way greater.
The defeat. So go ahead, throw one up on the board for Naruto.
Then we move on to the last. So the last is like the Boruto movie, where there's a novel and there's the last, right? It's not a novelization. So a novelization is when the movie gets turned into a novel. This is, the last had a novel that got turned into a movie. And in the last novel, when Sasuke shows up in order to break the meteor heading towards Konoha, it says that he is Kakashi's strongest student, meaning that he's stronger than Naruto, so he would beat Naruto. I mean, it's really that simple.
I mean, yeah,
if you want to talk about the anime only, then we just kind of can't conclude on it.
This is the only piece of information we have about either of them and how they scale to one another. So I think that it's just safe to give it to Sasuke. And if you want to fight this statement, I don't know what to tell you, dude. Like, that is as concrete as possible. It's as close to saying Sasuke is stronger than Naruto without outright saying it.
So, well, you can't. I could see some people of why they would have an issue. Once again, to play devil's advocate, statements aren't the holy grail of just automatically dictating. Like, JJK is a prime example. Gojo, like the guy literally asked him, hey, if you and Sukuna fought, who would actually win if you was at full power? Gojo's like, oh yeah, it'd be draining in a way, but I would win. I would still bitch his ass. You know what I mean? We saw what actually happens. Feats contradict the statements. Better yet, it's so many animes where feats can just contradict statements. So all because something is stated doesn't actually mean it's definitively, meaning has to be, like, you know what I mean, no matter what. You know, and that's just basically what you're working with in a sense, you know? So I'm just kind of putting that out there, you know what I mean? But like, and not most importantly, if you analyze literally their 6 paths fight after the war arc, you know what I mean, the Final Valley, and we see all that, technically you could still argue the same principle applies, you know what I mean? From all that, you connect all those dots and basically just further conclude why Naruto would still win, you know what I mean? Because that means Sasuke had to do like a crazy drastic boost of fucking jump of power to somehow, some way, either be equal on Naruto's terms, and then he mainly wins because of him having the Rinnegan ability, etc. and greater intelligence, and that's why he would win, meaning that's why he's the strongest student of Kakashi, or he just even surpassed him in power as well, you know what I mean? I don't know about the second one, of him surpassing in power. The only way that statement could definitely be very, like, correct is if he's now equal to Naruto, you know what I mean? And then mainly, once again, because of intelligence abilities, that's why he would now be able to beat him in the fight. So you have that as well, you know, and that's just kind of what you're working with. Or, once again, if you go through the analysis of, like, how they were compared to when they fought in the end, in the Final Valley, and then basically bring that upon, you know, even as of now, then you could basically further deduce that actually wouldn't be the case. You know what I mean? So, like, there's that, you know? And then most importantly, if we literally analyze the manga of Boruto and the anime, even though this is even further in the future and technically not at this point in current time, there's tons and tons of evidence implicating that Naruto is way more stronger than Sasuke, just like what it was shown narratively, and you name it, towards their Final Valley of the end. So I could see why people could have a problem with that. You know what I mean? It's kind of weird out of nowhere, you know, but it's interesting. It is interesting. And no matter what, unfortunately, like, there's not really a lot of comparison with Sasuke and Naruto, you know? So you do have that. You know, the only thing we really see is Naruto going, like, having a full-on fight with that one dude with his own, like, fucking, you know, KCM2 cloak form type shit. And then we see, like, Sasuke dealing with a big-ass meteor with, like, just a basic Shidori, no Susanoo, no nothing. And then Naruto had to, like, go in his KCM2 cloak to fight that one dude, and they're fucking shit up, and then he literally just one-shots him. So, like, it's really, really hard to determine because we just don't have a lot. Like, until I do my full homework and analyze all that and just see if there is maybe anything else potentially, then I could maybe be able to further decisively conclude whether or not Sasuke and Naruto wins. But no matter what, that's kind of what you're working with. You know what I mean? So, like, if I had to pick based upon that statement of it just being stated like Sasuke is the strongest student of Kakashi's team, then sure, you could say Sasuke, right? Because maybe somehow, some way, Sasuke really did catch up in power, and now it boils down to intelligence abilities, and Sasuke wins, right? You know? Or that statement's incorrect, and the feats would contradict, and the narrative would also contradict. You know what I mean? So it depends on how you kind of go about it. You know what I mean? But no matter what, if we had to be as transparent as possible and actually pick a side, since there's really not a lot, and this is at this point in time, not in the future, you know what I mean? And obviously not during the Valley of the End, you could probably just give it to Sasuke. You know what I mean? You might as well, right? You know? Because that's the only thing we fucking have. And it just says it flat out right there and then. You know? And there you go. So, it is what it is. I don't know what to tell you. But once again, if you wanted to try to play devil's advocate or argue for Naruto, you would have to bring up the future references and the past references in order to substantiate that Naruto should still be stronger. Once again, mainly due to the fact that he has the power of the Nine Tails, which is just absurdly broken. You know what I mean? Along with the 6 paths amp. You know? So that's just kind of what you're working with. But it's, you know, that's all I'll say on that. But no matter what, if I had to choose, I would also agree and say Sasuke. Unfortunately, During that point in time, the only thing we have is that statement. What do you do? You know what I mean? Like, what do you do? So,
because it's like there are 3 students of Kakashi. If Sasuke is the strongest, that means he's stronger than Naruto. It's not a broad category. So, if
simple.
you want, I guess you can chalk this up to a tie. Like, I wouldn't say that that's dumb. I think that that's valid. But the only information that we have about it from the original source material says that Sasuke was stronger. So, I'm going to give it to him.
Then you got Boruto, Naruto, and Sasuke. This is unclear, and I feel like me or Swag, no matter which.
Unclear? Come on, no, there's no shot. Get the fuck out. I don't know about that. This is probably going to be the biggest time I disagree heavily. Because I just been watching the anime Boruto. You know what I mean? I've seen a lot of it. And it's pretty clear Naruto is very far beyond Sasuke still. I don't know about all that one. That's a little weird.
Way we pick.
Like, I'll just give one example. When Momoshiki comes and Kenshiki, Naruto, you know what I mean, like, fucking goes in the KCM cloak, and Sasuke just flat out says this verbatim. You have way more power than me. Only you can be able to stop that technique, you know what I mean, and be able to deal with it, you know, in order to save everyone, but unfortunately be at the cost of you being incapacitated in the process. You know, and he also says it's a shame, because if you were able just to cut loose and go full power right now, you would be able to beat these guys easily. Easily. You know what I mean? And Sasuke is the one saying this information. He is flat out conceding that Naruto is more powerful than him. You know what I mean? Like, that Sasuke was in a similar range with Kinshiki and Momoshiki. We blatantly actually see that. You know what I mean? With feats and you name it. But with all the statements, you name it, and finally get a comparison between the two, and when shit's going down the fan at the tuning exams, Sasuke flat out just concedes that he's more powerful than him. So I don't know about all that one. The only time we actually see where they're equal to each other is when Sasuke is nerfed and Naruto is also nerfed. That man lost a ridiculous amount of fucking power from Momoshiki. And then Sasuke was also nerfed as well. Not to like an insane degree. He only used his transportation technique. But overall, like, Naruto was heavily drained of chakra power, you know, and they were shown to be like an equal level. You can either say relative or equal, I don't care. And then eventually they had to combine their power in Majestic Susanoo, you know, in order to defeat Momoshiki's final form, you know. So, like, I'm just kind of putting that out there. And then better yet, actually, if I actually really was to go back and actually analyze that fight in fully, I do think Fused Momoshiki actually kind of beats the fuck out of Sasuke in a way. In a certain way, and then Naruto is actually the only one like still doing very, very impressive against him. And then like when Sasuke applies like a Shidori around his entire body, they're both fighting him and like actually being equal against Momoshiki Fused, you know, and then start beating his ass and actually getting the advantage. So, but either way, yeah, I don't know about all that one. I think it's pretty clear Naruto has that.
Get attacked. In
Yeah.
reality, like I said, the fight is kind of just unclear. So you have the Boruto movie data book. They say Naruto and Sasuke are equals. That's not stated in the anime by any like official source, but it's an opinion that Orochimaru and Mitsuki both hold in the anime and manga. I'm pretty sure it's also in the novel as well, but I'm just saying, in this era, it's stated that they're equal in every continuity. Just, you know, the source varies.
Yeah, that could be them being equal in like shinobi aspect as like discipline, you know what I mean, you name it, etc., like a whole bunch, not meaning directly to power as well. You know what I mean? I don't know. Once again, the feats contradict that and Sasuke's own statements.
So if you don't want to take it, whatever. But with that being said, it sort of makes it difficult to determine who would win, because it's just like what they just taught.
Yeah, they're almost blatantly equivalent in power and capabilities.
And we don't really get anything for that.
I would say if they're equal, I would say if they're equal, then I think Sasuke would still get in the end because he's just a more intelligent fighter, and with his hacks abilities and dojutsu, you name it, and especially if he just even steals power from Naruto's fucked. You know what I mean? So like I think then it would actually still boil down in Sasuke's favor. He has greater abilities, teleportation, You fucking name it. Genjutsu won't be a factor because of Kurama, but either way, like, and he's just more intelligent. Like, I'm sorry, I would have to give that to Sasuke if they're equal.
So, I'm saying this is a tie or inconclusive. You can pick whichever one you want to.
I agree.
Based
I agree.
on your favorite character. And
You know, that I disagree
leave it
with.
at that. And
I agree, but I think that the series illustrates them as equals pretty regularly.
It certainly does.
I think that if there was a strength disparity, it would have been alluded to or said or something at some point, right? Like, we would have one source that just straight up confirms Naruto or Sasuke's superiority. But we don't really. If it existed, we would tell you about it and we'd be like, this person wins, but we don't. So I think that it's just like, it depends on what kind of day they're having type of thing, you know? Like, if Naruto wakes up on the wrong side of the bed, he might lose. If Sasuke doesn't get enough sleep and eats no breakfast or something, then he might lose, right? It really just depends. So I'm going to mark this as a tie. Then we have, maybe this is like a bonus or like supplementary category, I don't know. But it's Boruto era post nerfs, because and maybe I shouldn't have put this on the list just because of the answer, but wait, go ahead.
But before that, Boriyama Naruto would beat the dog shit out of Sasuke.
Of course.
Yeah, that obviously, you know, it's not even a category here. You know, if you want to give a point to Naruto, for that,
no, I just saw that recently as well. Barry mode. Oh my god, to oblivion fucking slams. Not even a fucking competition. Absolutely agree with that. Absolutely. Anyways, continue.
Sure, because you know, I said this kind of earlier in the video, but I don't know how much of a difference it's gonna make. But like post nerfs, I don't know. Do you think Sage Mode is stronger than Sasuke's one Mangekyo Sharingan? Then I guess Naruto wins. Do you think that Sasuke's Genjutsu
Close.
is too much for
I think that it's
Naruto?
implied that they're
I guess
relative,
Sasuke.
regardless. That's my
There
opinion.
are a
But
lot of arguments you can make for both parties, but neither of them have been shown fighting one another yet. And since at the time of this video's release, we're pretty much right at the time skip, I don't think that we're going to get any proof of who's stronger. So this is probably, like the last one, just going to stay a tie forever.
Well, I think we will see that Sasuke is stronger because Naruto is sealed away right now.
Yeah.
And Sasuke is training with Boruto. And like it's Swagkage said, the time skip is about to happen. So we're about to see Sasuke after the time skip. Maybe he's gotten stronger. So maybe we'll see that confirmation.
possibly.
Now,
Naruto sealed.
and we don't know.
Frozen in time.
So,
Yeah.
the final score.
I agree with
for
that.
everybody.
If Naruto's sealed frozen in time, we have no idea if. I highly doubt he could still train or whatever you name it. So, meaning Naruto would still be at the same level he's at. And if Sasuke is still training and name it, which would make sense, why would he not be training and getting stronger? Sasuke would definitely have the edge in that.
Sasuke has Land of Waves, Forest of Death, Chunin Exam Finals, Sasuke Retrieval, Kazekage Rescue, Tenchi Bridge, Akatsuki Suppression, Mid-War, and the last.
And Kage Summit, if you want to throw that in there. Because
Yeah.
we said that was a tie. And then, you could also talk about Boruto and the post-nerfs, because we said that was a tie too, and you can choose if you want. So if you include those, it's 12. But if you don't, it's 9 for Sasuke.
Then Naruto has the Chunin Exam Preliminaries, Search for Tsunade, Pain Arc, Late War, and 6 Paths.
And then if you include the tie rounds, he has 8. Without them, he has 5.
So,
Yep.
Sasuke wins more than he loses here. Even if you give every tiebreaker to Naruto, Sasuke still comes out on top.
He sure
This
does.
was not done on purpose. None of these arguments were
It's
disingenuous.
just the narrative.
And none of these categories were inserted disingenuously either. Even if you give all of the ties to Naruto and still, like, for some reason insert Baryon mode in there as well, just as like a bonus win condition for him, then they still only like tie. And
Yep.
that is the most generous interpretation of the entire series possible. for Naruto with like an added, basically like free space for him. So it wasn't on purpose, you know.
It was.
Neither of us went into this with the intent of making Sasuke win the little mini game here, I guess. But you know,
if you want
just how the cookie crumbles.
Man said how the cookie crumbles, bro.
We definitely didn't make the video to say Sasuke won. 100%. It just happened to come down this way with the specific rounds that we chose for the video.
Well, what other rounds would you introduce where Naruto wins?
I mean, it's just how it went down. So,
but anyway, if you guys like the video, subscribe to the channel. Subscribe.
Great
to
video,
Six as
guys.
well. I'll
Great
leave
video
the
as
link
well.
to his channel down in the description. He uploads a lot of Naruto content, more frequently than I do, actually. So if you're hungry for, the sort of stuff that you saw us discussing here, head on over to his channel and you won't be disappointed.
Great video as always,
But,
folks.
also,
great video as always.
let both of us know, do you disagree with us on any of these? Who do you think would win in, say, the Chunin exam finals? You think Naruto could tough it out? The Kage Summit is the one that I'm most interested in hearing from you guys about, though. I want to know you guys' opinion on that. But if you do give a differing opinion, don't just say, oh, blank would win this. Show your work. Tell me why. I want to be introduced to new perspectives.
Because, I mean, that was definitely the longest portion of the video. And when we were talking about it, that's the one we got hung up on.
The tough
Literally
one. It's a tough one.
Where we were like, well, I guess we got hung up on some of the stuff.
It's ambiguous.
But it got solved in like 5 minutes. That one was like an hour-long conversation, maybe longer. So I'm definitely interested to hear how people would take that otherwise. And maybe, maybe we didn't bring something up that you thought was super important.
Yeah.
Right?
It is a 700 chapter series, more including the Boruto stuff that we talked about. So we may have let some stuff fly under our radar. I'm pretty sure we did a good job. I think that we covered everything.
It's a good video for sure.
But if we missed anything, let us know.
Now, I'm going to just say this real quick, bro. They did do a great job, by the way. It was an incredible job. But if you're making bank from, anime alone, Naruto vids, whatever, I'm sorry, but you probably should read every single chapter, or do all the homework much as better do all the homework, period, to know for a fact you took everything into consideration. I'm just saying, bro, if it's your job, come on, man. But anyways, no, it was an incredible video. We're going to hear what Jay has to say to finish it out. And then I'm also going to show you the manga as well, what I was referring to, why I think Naruto would actually beat the dog shit out of Sasuke.
Thanks, everybody, for watching all the way to the end. And until next time, catch you later.
So there you guys have it, folks. I definitely want to get my thoughts on this. So, as I predicted, Swagkage and 6 illustrated these arms race transitions, if you will, between Naruto and Sasuke, right? The rivalry sort of dichotomy that they have with each other and how the narrative has these transitions take place, right? So essentially, what happens from part 1 to Shippuden is substantial, right? Sasuke jumps several calibers in power in comparison to Naruto, right? In part 1, it was like this for a while. Once you get to Shippuden, you get to the very beginning, boom, it goes like this. Sasuke is just way superior to Naruto. And without Nine-Tail intervention, Naruto has no hope of defeating someone of Sasuke's caliber. Right? And it stays that way for a long time. And then Sasuke gets Orochimaru's abilities, right? He even gets more powerful. And that doesn't really change. The difference in caliber doesn't really change until Naruto gets Sage Mode and he starts to surpass Sannin levels, right? That's where he finally takes the superior position in this power scaling arms race between Naruto and Sasuke. That just happens to be the case. For the majority of the narrative, Sasuke is the superior.
Yeah.
That's just the way it is. Sasuke is the prodigy. Sasuke serves as Naruto's obstacle for the majority of the narrative.
Literally.
He's chasing
to get him stronger the whole time is fucking Sasuke.
shadow. Right? He's chasing his shadow.
Like, why do you think that motherfuckers always screaming each other's names, bro? Naruto, Sasuke, like, bro, they hyping each other up the whole series.
Chasing that guy, right? And that's why Naruto has to be the inferior. For the narrative to make sense, for the thematic aspects to appear to us, Naruto has to be chasing someone. At the beginning of part 1 of Naruto, Naruto's already chasing Sasuke. He's chasing him. He wants his respect. He wants to be his equal. And of course, on top of that, he wants respect from Konoha in general. Right? He's always chasing a goal. Sasuke is the goal. Hence, he has to be the superior for the majority of the narrative. Yeah. Once Naruto has an epiphany and an evolution, so to speak, with KCM, that's when things start to change. Naruto starts to reach that rare air where, hey, he did reach his goals, right? So at a certain point, he surpasses Sasuke, right? At the very, especially blatantly at the end of the war where he defeats him in battle. Then, as Swag and Six pointed out, in the last, Sasuke stated to be the strongest by Kakashi. But then we get to the Boruto era later on, right? Specifically the manga, and it seems that Naruto and Sasuke are now just damn near equivalent. If I had to give my prediction on who would win in battle, and it's not in character and they're simply trying to kill each other, I'd probably go with Naruto. Sasuke has less durability, has less chakra, etc. Right? I think speed and things of that nature are very, very relative. But however, I think Naruto's durability and his ungodly amounts of chakra would be the difference. Sasuke's best win condition would be to send Naruto away. Right, to send him to another dimension. Then he'll die there from starvation or whatever the case may be.
Like a Conway win con.
In a one-on-one altercation, I think Naruto would most likely get the W. I think he has the arsenal for it. He has the durability.
So Jay agrees with me as well that Naruto would win.
For it.
Now, where the disconnect does come is to where if they're equal though to each other, then he thinks Naruto win. I will say this: if they're equal to each other, then I think Sasuke would win at that point. That's just me personally. Due to intelligence and abilities.
And if anything, if they are equivalent in power, it would come down to a battle of attrition, which I think Naruto would win. He has the ridiculous amounts of chakra that Kurama provides him. While conversely, Sasuke, after 2 teleportations to different dimensions, is gassed. Right? That's the difference. But however, they are extremely equivalent. And if we are talking about in character, it's any man's game at that point. It's any man's win. So it's a very, very close fight. I think Kishimoto wants it that way. Because why? It's no longer about Naruto and Sasuke. It's about Boruto. Boruto and Kawaki specifically, right? So he has to end that dichotomy between those guys. That's no longer the focus, right? Despite us revering Naruto and Sasuke so heavily, they're no longer the focus in the narrative. Especially now in current Boruto. Naruto sealed, and Sasuke is going to have to train Boruto.
Agreed.
Boruto is a priority now. Kawaki's a priority now. That's a priority.
Absolutely
not Naruto
agree.
and Sasuke, right? So the passing of the torch has taken place. It took place a while ago, in my opinion, after the death of Kurama and the Rinnegan removal of Sasuke. I think that was the passing of the torch. You know, the generational transition, if you will, right? Where shinobi have to be competent and capable enough to overcome any such said catastrophe, right? And that's what Naruto and Sasuke were in the previous generation, right? There was a generational transition from, you know, Hiruzen and Minato to Naruto and Sasuke, right? The strongest on Earth. The generational transition of the strongest on Earth. Who will be the heroes of today's time, right? And in the previous generation, it was Naruto and Sasuke. They protected Earth from the Otsutsuki, etc. Now, that torch is being passed down to Boruto, right? Obviously, there's the plot twist and all that, but the point is, he is the next in line. He is the next one up. He's the one that has to show up and perform, right? So, Sasuke was kind of serve as that mentor, I'm sure, right? With the plot twist and him going rogue with Boruto, which was very well done narratively speaking. So, Naruto.
All right, well, I'm not going to watch it now. Jay's just going to continue to spit on nothing but facts. But I do want to show you this really quick. I know the video is already as long as it is, about like an hour and 24 minutes. So I'm going to make this really quick for you. But I just want to show you this, guys. So Boruto sees base Naruto and base Sasuke, right? You name it. Okay. All that, whatever. And then Naruto summons his power, goes into KCM 2 Sage Mode, 6-Pass Mode. Okay. And then literally, Boruto's like, what? And then he's like, what the? And she's like, it's Lord 7th. And he's like, I had no idea Dad had power like this. Okay, doesn't say that about Sasuke, nothing, whatever, you name it. It says that about Naruto. Okay. And then Sasuke is like, use my chakra too. If you go down, it's all over. He's like, I know, thanks, Sasuke. And they say, how pretentious or whatever. Okay. And literally, like, right there, like, he just flat out says, like, if you go down, it's all over. You know what I mean? Like, basically saying in a nutshell, like, he wouldn't be able to do anything, like, it doesn't fucking matter. You know what I mean? Just immediately saying, like, Naruto, you are, like, the main way for all of us to survive here, you know? So there's that as well, okay? And then, let me get this. Sasuke, take care of the kids. He says, all right. So Boruto's like, why? Why didn't Dad blast it? And then Sasuke says Naruto could easily obliterate that thing if he wanted to, along with this whole area that is. You know what I mean? So easily deal with this, whatever. Sasuke can't deal with this. He has no way to deal with it. Not with his perfect Susanoo, nothing. He even tells Naruto, like, take my chakra. If you go down, it's all over, whatever you name it. Then says this, Naruto could easily obliterate that thing if he wanted to. Not Sasuke, Naruto. And he also says along with this whole area that is as well. You know what I mean? And then he says, you're planning to use your own body as a shield and absorb all the damage yourself. What a foolish, stupid idea, appropriate for the inferior creature you are. You know? And then that basically happens from there. And then, you know, we know what happens. Naruto gets taken. That's basically it. So, like, I'm sorry, but there's nothing implying that that Sasuke can be able to do it, whatever, this and that, yada yada, all this shit, whatever. Like, it's pretty clear that Naruto is still that guy at this point in time. You know, once again, when it comes to those other statements saying like they're equal in a way or whatever, sure, in certain, you know, aspects, and, you know, in shinobi caliber, you know, discipline, jutsu, yada yada, the list goes on and on. But when it comes to blatant power alone, like who could be able to last longer, who could be able to dish out more, destroy more, you name it, definitely still going to Naruto. Like, I feel like this blatantly just shows that, you know, on the beginning, you name it, whatever. Because once again, if Sasuke could do it, he would do it. You know what I mean? Like, he would. You know what I mean? Like, the motherfucker literally has the Rinnegan. Like, he has Shino Tensei, Chibaku Tensei. He has absorption, you name it. Yet he couldn't do anything in this situation. Only Naruto could? Come on. You know what I mean? Like, only, and then literally even also showing that only Naruto could be able to tank it and allow everyone to live, not Sasuke using his Susanoo to do it instead. You know? Like, come on. You know what I mean? Like, it's pretty straightforward, you know? Now, the other thing I will also say is I don't know why they didn't just do Majestic Susanoo. That probably could have been able to help Naruto, you know what I mean? But maybe they both would have been knocked out. And Naruto thought it's better at least for one of them to be knocked out, and that's it, you know? I don't know. The world may never know. But either way, if we even go further into like everything else and compare them in comparison, Naruto still has it over Sasuke. So with just feats, you name it, and that beginning and statements and what even Sasuke says and all that stuff, and even Boruto's reaction to Naruto's power compared to even seeing Sasuke, I think that's pretty crystal clear. But this video is already an hour and like probably fucking 20-something minutes. So we're going to end it here. If you guys enjoyed, let me know what you think down below. All versions, Naruto versus Sasuke. Let me know what you thought of Swagkage and Six's video together, how they did. Who do you think wins the most? You know, and the most contentious battles between Sasuke and Naruto, who do you think wins? Who do you think wins in Boruto as well? I'm very curious. Obviously, don't include Baryon mode. That's stupid. That's obvious. But let me know who you think wins in the, during the last. Who do you think wins in the future during like this time, you name it, whatever. I'm really curious. And any other contentious moments. Very, very curious, guys. Make sure to like the video. Subscribe for more content. Subscribe to guys on the channel. As always, Batman out. Peace.